Wow, there's a hell of a delay to go to YouTube. It seems like it takes about a minute now before YouTube starts up.
Seems to be that way.
So that means like we're in the past right now, and the future is out there somewhere, and I'm very confused.
The
Been
future
confused.
is grand.
Yep. Anyway, I'm trying to decide whether to have this surgery yet. I'm still waffling. I think I'm going to try to eat a pork chop tonight and see what happens as an experiment, because my
Oh,
son
I thought you
is.
said you were already.
I am scheduled. My son is trying to talk me
Okay.
out of it. He's trying to talk me out of it. He sent me a John Hopkins study that said 70% of the people that have an attack 4 years later don't have another one. So, so 70% of the surgeries are unnecessary. I don't know. You know, I don't know what the fuck to do. He keeps confusing me. I mean, when I make a decision one way, he meant, and I mean, getting out of going to the hospital and getting put under and shit like that is pretty easy to talk a person out of that, right?
Yeah, but yeah, with those oh, what do they call them? Where they do 3 incisions, make a balloon out of your belly, and then yank
Yeah.
out the gallbladder through one of the other holes. Um, that doesn't really sound too good, other holes, but the way they do things, it's not as bad as it used to be. We're talking outpatient surgery, aren't we?
Yeah. You got to go into the hospital for a day. Basically you're in for
Yeah.
a day and then you're out. Yeah. Yeah. But he sent me another article telling me how many people die in surgery from simple surgeries.
Okay. Is this the hypochondriac one, son?
Yeah. Well, a
Well,
little bit.
then you need to talk to somebody who is mindful of their health, but not hypochondriac.
Yeah. He's pretty
Because a
mindful.
hypochondriac is kind of overblow everything. Yeah, people, they do die during surgery. That happens all the time. It's always happened. It happens less than it did, say, in the 1860s. But that we have a history of surgery and stuff getting better and better and better. And I, I don't know, unless they're saying that all the anesthesia and stuff is what kills them. Then
Yeah, well, yeah, that can kill you as infections, a whole bunch of other
yeah,
complications and stuff. And he is the one that has to drive me there at 8 in the morning, so that's another reason why he might be trying to talk me out of it, because he doesn't get up till like 10. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna talk to him and I don't know. Well, if I eat a pork chop and I get sick again tonight, then I know I gotta have this son of a bitch out. So I don't know. And then I don't know, thinking about removing my brain, because you know my ex-wife tells me that's going to hell too.
yeah,
Yeah. What we gonna do?
yeah. Might as well just just jerk out everything
Yep.
that is causing you trouble.
Yep. So we have Caterpillar and we have Pragmatic Crystal and we have Captive Desk Dave, and I don't know why Dave isn't coming in. I thought he was gonna come in. But anyway, so Bernardo Kastrup, they talk about him in the Wikipedia. Bernardo, he leads the modern revival of metaphysical idealism. He's a Dutch doctor of philosophy and computer engineering and artificial intelligence, and he is the executive director of the Essentia Foundation, which is a Deepak Chopra sort of organization. So that's where he's coming from, right? But lately he's been everywhere. He's been on, just tons, every channel. Woo, and he's been on a few, like Michael Shermer, I think, basically did a little pushback against him, but I didn't finish the whole thing. But his idea is that everything is made of mentals. Like the entire universe is made of mentals, and that's why we have consciousness, because the whole universe is nothing more than mental. There's no such thing as physical or an external world outside of ourselves, and materialism is patently false. Physicalism is patently false. And he makes that point everywhere he goes, and he talks about how stupid physicalism is and how quantum mechanics proves physicalism is wrong, and so does neuroscience now. And he says a few things in his book that kind of a tell. Like, let's see, where are we here? He talks about interpersonal experiences and psychic phenomena, and how materialism can explain psychic phenomena. Like materialism can't explain it, like my reading your mind, or my having connections with past lives or any of that stuff. It can't explain NDEs, near-death experiences. Materialism can't explain that stuff because that stuff doesn't exist. Of course, we know that, but maybe that's why I can't explain it, because that shit ain't real, you know? What say you, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What say I say calling things mentals is, I don't know, is that what people who like to play metaphysics do? They just make up new words and then make that part of their whole universe.
Well, we all know what mental is, right? We do it all the time. I'm mentaling right now. so, so we're supposedly that, but he said, it's not stuff. He said there is no mental stuff. It's not called stuff. It's just mental. So there is no stuff at all. He makes a point of that. Now his whole thing is that the reason that physics works the way it does, and that the reason that all of science works and that we should pay attention to science, is because there is a universal mental that keeps track of all that stuff. So the universal mental is really good at keeping track of things. Like you might forget where you put your car keys, but the universe never forgets to make an apple fall from a tree, right? The universe is the big mental. So it never, okay. And we are localized whirlpools inside of the big mental, the big universe mental. And we're little whirlpools, and what our brains do is they filter out most of the world, and they just give us a small part of it. So we're like a whirlpool filter, so that when you get drunk or when you get stoned on psychedelics or something like that, that filter stops working and you actually get more consciousness instead of less consciousness. That's also his theory. Okay. So we're all little whirlpools, and when we communicate with each other, we're doing it in that outer universal mind, and that's why I don't know. I do despair. He's got quite the book here, which I've been going over at some length. I'm on. He's got a book called "Why Materialism is Baloney."
Whose publishes it? Did he self-publish it, like through Amazon or something like that?
Well, he's got about 10 books that he's written, and let me take a look here. Let's see if we can show part of it. Okay. Bernardo Kastrup's book is another nail in the coffin of the superstition of materialism. With elegant clarity, he explains that mind, brain, and cosmos are what consciousness does. Now, that's by the esteemed Deepak Chopra, MD, and it's why materialism is baloney. How true skeptics know there is no death and fathom the answers to life, the universe, and everything. But yeah, I think he's a legitimate publisher. He's getting more respect as a philosopher than I think he deserves because I think his arguments are pretty underbaked. But this is sort of a resurgence of dualism that we're seeing pop up all over the place now that we have the YouTube. The YouTube is bringing up a lot of.
Well, Deepak, he kind of developed a following over the years, and if he's palling around with Deepak, then or Deepak, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Deepak, yeah.
Then that's why he's selling books.
Yep. And he's been friends with Deepak now, he said, for 6 years. I don't know, but that was, I'm not sure how many years ago that video was done. But anyway, Bernardo Kastrup is full of baloney. He is baloney, and his arguments are really underbaked. And, well, I'm only halfway through the book. I'm waiting for the...
It's kind of odd that they call it superstitions. It seems to be something that is similar between anti-evolutionists like Kent Hovind and Ken Ham and
creationists. Yeah,
creationists, and they'll call evolution a superstition or a religion. Have they called physicalism a religion?
He hasn't done that yet, but he's used all the same language that creationists use. Like he says in a couple places that, well, we can listen to a few clips about what he's got to say about materialism here. If you want to do that? You wanna?
Go right ahead.
Okay, this is from 7 years ago. So this he's got a lot of new stuff, but this particular one is 7 years ago. So let's see if you can hear it.
Encourage, or what would be some lines of thought that you would give to someone to encourage them to take these thoughts seriously in philosophy?
Yeah, what we technically call ontology, or a narrative for the nature of being, of ourselves and the world. It sounds very technical and very specific. Everybody is, whether they are aware of it or not, living according to a certain ontology. We all either make or import from the cultural narrative certain assumptions, postulates, and hypotheses about the nature of the world, the nature of life.
Okay, so he's saying the same thing that all the creationists say, that our worldview has us interpreting everything according to physicalism, right? Do you recognize that same exact narrative?
Yeah, but then that doesn't explain all the religious people.
Well, I mean, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, except, he's not a Christian, he's something else. But anyway, the other odd thing about Kastrup is that by the time he's done explaining things, like the whirlpool analogy and there is no unconscious is something that he believes. Hang on a second. He agrees with me on a whole lot of things. But when he represents materialism, he represents it in an inverted way, which makes it sound like naive idealism. So he's attacking a straw man to begin with. He's not attacking actual physicalism. And then when he goes ahead and puts forth his idea, he seems to be synchronized with all of the ideas and results that I come up with my pure physicalist, naturalist view. And it really is kind of interesting that he parallels physicalism in so many respects that he ends up actually sounding like he's a physicalist, but a modern physicalist, right? One that understands what the actual implications are here. One that understands that there's not some kind of world inside of our brains happening, and we're not representing things inside of our brain. We're more like a tornado or a whirlpool moving through life. Anyway, so there's that. But anyway, we can listen to him for a bit here. I think he dribbles on.
And the purpose, if any, and meaning, if any, of our participation in it. And even if you're not aware of it, at a subliminal level, you make those assumptions, you import those assumptions from the cultural narrative, that they change how you feel about your life, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about others and the world.
Now, notice he said cultural narrative, right? You know, the atheists just want you to believe in physicalism, and the scientists, they all just want you to believe in physicalism. That's the cultural narrative.
It influences every aspect of your life. What you choose to do as a profession, whether you see any meaning, how you relate to the prospect of death, your own and those of your loved ones. So it is very pervasive. It may be subliminal, but it's very pervasive. So I think it is extraordinarily important for us to keep on improving our mainstream cultural narrative as far as our view of the nature of reality is concerned, because this is impacting everything, not only how subjective feel, but how we drive our economy, what calibrates our behavior, how we treat the environment, political systems, social systems, how we treat the mentally challenged. Or I don't like this.
I have another clip here, just a little bit further on. Let's see.
And it's highly underestimated. So underestimated that we took as default a certain ontology, the physicalist ontology, and we don't even question it anymore. We think that it's a matter of refining. I think it's not a matter of refining at all. I think physicalism is extraordinarily wrong at a very fundamental, basic level. I think it's ridiculously wrong, and I think it can be argued that it is ridiculously wrong. And it is influencing our lives, our political systems, our economy, our behavior on this planet in ways that are not as close to truth as they should be. In fact, in ways that are very far away from truth.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And it does seem like, you know, the current paradigm is to sort of presuppose, you know, what, you know, establish my axioms and presuppose them. I think that's what many of us do anyway. But I have found that many, at least on the physicalist and the materialist side, tend to not view those positions as sort of presuppositions. They think that anything beyond what I can experience as natural is an actual presupposition. But when it comes to the external empirical world, those things are not presuppositions. Those things are almost...
Right. Okay. Are you with me, Scott? Or are you dying?
I believe I'm still with you.
Yeah, for a moment there, I could only see you on the screen and not myself.
Wow.
But, yeah, I don't know what's
That
happening.
was just mental.
Yeah. Okay, the real cultural naval. Okay, yeah, that is the real cultural narratives that people are indoctrinated into religion, and we're indoctrinated into a lot of woo. But anyway, the mainstream science accepting that there is an external world. Okay, it's not an ontological worldview per se. It is a methodological naturalism, which is based on the method that we use every morning when we get up, put our pants on, pour a cup of coffee, go out and say, "Hi, honey," you know, deal with the external world as we do every day, and everyone lives according to methodological naturalism. It isn't just a scientific thing that we've adopted. It isn't a cultural narrative. It's what all human beings do. Even primitive man, when he was like thinking that thunder was from the thunder gods, went out and chopped wood. He believed that there were trees and that he had to cut them down and chop them up and burn them and things like that. I mean, for fuck's sake, people.
Yeah,
there is no external world.
We, just like they said to George of the Jungle, we all have to look out for that tree. In other words,
yes,
we assume that these physical things in front of us are real, and we have proven that over and over and over and over. It's not just a presupposition. It's not just a culturally forced belief.
Yep. So Dave, do you got a link to your stream tonight? You're doing Grassman Chronicles, I think, right? Tonight? Oh, let's see. Yeah, I think he's doing it tonight. I don't know, but I can't find a link.
There's also on the line on Jimmy Snow's channel, it's going to be Gutsick Gibbon and George from Reason to Doubt.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
that's going to be an interesting pair up. I like that.
Yep. Anyway, we got What the Beck, and we got Brian Stevens, Doorknob Head. We got a few people here. Oh, wait, there's a lot of people here. What the hell happened? Oh my God.
I think they have been hungering for more answers in atheism.
Yeah, we haven't been giving a lot of answers in atheism. Anyway, so, well, there's a few things we can listen to here. So he's talking about, this presupposition that, we make that there's an external world. Well, that's all that says. I mean, you can make philosophical and metaphysical hay about that, and you can turn it inside and out all you want. But at the end of the day, we all know that we are human organisms and that we end somewhere around our skin, and that there is a fucking external world that we walk around in every day. And that is just the very simple, plain, common sense view of physicalism, that there is an external world. And they want you to believe that. They want you to start thinking in terms of, oh no, it's all mentals, and there's all mentals out there, and it's some big, like in Kastrup's case, it's uber mentals, mentacles. And in, I don't know what the fuck Deepak thinks, but who's that other guy, Philip Goff? He thinks that it's all physical, but all the physical stuff is conscious, so that even an atom is conscious.
It's all a substance, yeah.
Right, and if you,
it's a different name for an unnecessary substance.
Yeah, panpsychism is
Yeah.
Philip Goff's thing. So I mean, it's just one thing after another. Here's the Grassman Chronicles. Yes, we have it. We have it, Dave. That is tonight. I don't know when that is. I'm not sure. We're not going to be on too long today. Should I put the link out for people?
Sure.
Okay.
I like Brian's statement. I'm here for the bologna. If you fry up some bologna, it's actually pretty good on bread. And cheese, I haven't really ever added much cheese to my bologna, but that's a good idea. And maybe a little ketchup.
Yep. So I'm going to try something different. I'm hoping in the next month or two, I'm going to try to put out a 5 or 10 minute video on each of the points that I get from some of these dualist nonsense people.
Yeah.
Of course, Kastrup would say he's not a dualist because what they do is they say, oh, it's all mentals, all mentacles and causicals. And
so he's, in other words, redefining matter as... Yeah, and so okay, so everything is something else, some conceptual thing else that just kind of takes over all the material world plus X.
Yep, he's calling it mental. Hey there.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, Kentucky atheist?
The Kentucky atheist.
I hope you're not offended that I left out the in your name.
Oh.
I won't take offense to it.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know how people feel about the definite article, and so you could have really loved your definite article, and I detracted from it.
Well, I'm actually it's the Kentucky atheist, as in multiple, is actually the way I kind of view it.
Oh, as in the thinking atheist, the Kentucky atheist?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm not much of a representative of all Kentucky atheists, but I have a few in my group, and so I feel like I can keep the name and say it speaks for a place that atheists don't usually come from.
Yep. What are we going to do with these religious nonsense woo-woo people? I'm just
This is actually my favorite
Just-
argument.
really.
Yeah.
You mean against the Deepak people? And
No, just
Or-
the fact that there is a natural world and theists assert that there's more than that, and
right.
the that because you get down to the root of the positive claim, right? And start from that point, they never have anything that's sensible anyway. It's always nonsense or apologist tricks.
Yeah, it's always these little tiny one-off things. Like he says something like he points to something that what is his name? Uh, oh my God, I can't think of the name right now. Tononi. That Tononi said in a encyclopedia of neuroscience. He points to something that Tononi said, where he said that they can't correlate brain scans with subjective experience. That that sometimes there's no correlation between the brain scan and subjective experience.
Right.
And he just throws that out. He throws that out there as an argument. And here's what's going on. When you have a subjective experience and they brain scan you, every single subjective experience, you have never had the same subjective experience twice. You've never had exactly the same pattern in your brain twice in your entire life.
Right.
If you put yourself in exactly the same position, your brain will be different from what it was 3 minutes ago. So you can't possibly get the same brain scan. And what he's saying is that, like, if you feel a pain in your toe and they brain scan you, and then 3 weeks from now you feel a pain in your toe and they brain scan you, they're going to find some parts of your brain that light up differently.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And it's like, duh. But anyway, he uses that as evidence that, it can't all be physical. There's got to be something else happening. And it goes on.
Now, what I find interesting is he applies it all, or hints that it all applies to, like, environmentalism and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really quite sure how you derive environmentalism from mentacles. I mean, I don't have to leave the natural world in order to come to realize that environmentalism is an important ism to pay attention to, and to value the earth and our I'll call it our relationship with it. Maybe he promotes deifying the planet or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he gets into it later in the book, how basically his idea of the universal mentacle translates into we should be better people and better for the environment, and shit like that. But, like, okay, it's interesting to contrast him with Christians. Christians believe in the physical universe, but then they believe we have these souls that sort of attach to us, right? So they're dualists. They believe in two things. Where he doesn't believe in the physical universe. He just believes in, like, the soul, that the entire universe is the soul.
Yeah.
And they all have their own little thing. And then, of course, Philip Goff, who's a panpsychist, believes in the physical universe, but he believes that all of the physical parts of it are conscious in themselves, and that when we add them all up in the brain, we end up with a big conscious tangle, whatever. And it's just a lot of... God, I'm really sort of disheartened with how shallow their arguments are.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get my mind around something deeper. I want them to come up with a better fucking argument, right?
Yeah. This almost feels like an argument from incredulity.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's like, the brain can't do that. Well, then, in his book, he talks about we have to develop this new intuition that we are little conscious whirlpools in a big conscious thing that's called the cosmos, right? And And I claim that you have to develop a better intuition that you are a little physical whirlpool inside of a big physical cosmos. So I'm saying kind of the same exact thing he is, except he wants to make all these political statements about materialism and physicalism. So I think ultimately what drives these people is politics.
Yeah.
Really,
Well, the
at the
frame
end
of
of the day.
reference is skewed.
Yeah.
It's a
You know, and it's like,
it's targeting an audience for the book sales too.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and he does that, and he's a little full of himself. Well, we saw that rage quit that he did when the physical he called the physicalist silly, and then when this physicalist said his idea was silly, he rage quit. You
Hey,
know, it's like, oh, I can call you silly, but you can't call me silly.
can I say something about book sales?
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm trying like hell to give away free signed books from Dave Warnock, and I can't get anybody
really,
to you know leave the hashtag book on my channel anywhere, and you're entered. Be a subscriber too. That's part of it. But I would think
really.
there's a
He
lot
is
of
sick.
people that would
He is
want that.
sick asshole on it. Sick asshole on him.
Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
get him out there, don't I? I'm going to have to crack the whip.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't. I didn't do it because I wanted somebody else to have it.
Right. Well, we have more than one,
It-
so don't.
it-
Yeah.
That's another thing. I felt like you guys, some of you that come on the channel and are involved in stuff, didn't want to enter because you're involved, and I get that. I would feel the same way too on someone else's
Well,
channel.
I just trying to help out somebody maybe can't afford it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, and I don't care if it's only a handful of people. We're still going to give them away on the 17th, but I would like to see more people that want it. We're going to give away.
Yeah, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it's signed copies of Childish Things, Dave Warnock's memoir, and we're giving it away. And we're also trying to raise money for Dave right now because he's needing a caretaker and stuff. But that's a whole nother thing.
Drop us. Stop by the Grass Man here in a little bit and drop a comment in the chat too, and we'll spread it there too. Okay.
Well, yeah, give us a link here, and I'll put it in my description, and we'll put it out in chat if you can. But anyway, how I haven't heard an update on Dave since I think last year or more,
So
and
Dave is having a rough time right now. He's he's on his way out the door, and he embraces that. But he is needing a caretaker full time and having trouble getting the funds to pay for that caretaker. Now the line has pushed a lot of people to Patreon, and that's the best way you can help him is go to Dying Out Loud, or is it Dave Out Loud? Dave Out Loud on his Patreon and donate there. That's the best way you can do it. But you can also go to daveoutloud.org, I think it is, and you can see you can buy copies of his book and stuff. I don't know that he'll be signing anymore because he can't hardly sign them as it is. So this is actually
the last
something pretty special that it's some of the last books he'll ever sign.
the last that I heard, he was progressing more slowly than he thought he was. I met him in out in
Austin?
in Austin at the ACA about 3-4 years ago, when just right after he had been diagnosed and when he started this whole
He
thing.
was also at the what was that
Faithless
convention
Forum.
we went to?
Faithless
Forum. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and he said he was progressing more slowly than he thought, and I'm sad to hear that it sped up.
Yeah.
yeah. You can't outrun it forever. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I hate
And
that you have to
There's-
hope that you have a network of people to support you who would do fundraising for you as you die.
Well,
and
I think
hate to
Dave. I'm sorry. I think Dave's contributions to the atheist community
Mhm.
and the atheist movement. I think he's a major player in things, and he's dedicated his life to this. And I think if there's anyone that we should come together on, it's to help someone who has, helped us become where we are now and where we will be in the future. So,
Oh yeah, I don't misunderstand me, please. I'm not saying that
oh
it's
no,
cause. I'm just saying that why the hell do we have to, hope that we can keep a job long enough to die?
well,
Because that's the only way we're going to get our insurance.
well, Dave's big goal is to share that with people, to share what going
Yeah,
through death is and what he thinks and how he feels and how he deals with it. And he's put that out there publicly for everyone to join in the conversation and talk about a subject that most people avoid. And
that's
I
true.
I just think he's contributed so much to the community. And for me, it's just I want to help if I can. Um, and so that's really all it is. I'm just trying to help out a fellow atheist.
I put the link in the
Yeah.
chat, Mike, and it's in the private chat for you too.
That's for your show.
For the show, yep.
Okay.
Grass,
Okay.
you can go to the Grassman channel or come to my channel. It's still on the captain desk too. So either way, you can catch it on either
Let
channel.
me throw that in.
And y'all got to subscribe
Okay.
over at the Grassman Chronicles because Trees is putting together a giveaway for Christmas. And you've got to be subscribed at the Grassman Chronicles to win. So
Okay.
I want everybody to get over the Grassman Chronicles channel.
You remember when you were a kid?
Santa might do you right.
Remember when you were a kid and the coolest gift you could get was one of those McDonald's gift certificates? Those were great stocking stuffers, and so I had all sorts of aunts and grandparents and people like that. That was their giveaway for everything.
Yeah. By the way, Kentucky, you texted me and I didn't respond to you because it's complicated. I wasn't quite sure, but so we got to have a conversation. I've been a little sick.
Yeah,
And you didn't send me a link either. That's why I didn't join her.
Okay.
I wasn't ignoring you.
Oh, I didn't say. I sent you a link. Did I not send it?
Nope.
Oh my God! I didn't hit. Oh, I gotta hit send. Oh.
Yeah, you got to complete the action.
Oh my God! Yeah, I didn't hit this big blue send button.
It's all right. I'm getting all ready for my show here, so
Well, I tried
check
communicating
my
with the great
face and get centered here and everything. So.
I tried just communicating it through the great big mentacle.
Yeah, the
big
mentacle seems to be slow today.
That prayer stuff doesn't work, Mike.
Isn't
Isn't that one of the first ones in your Answers in Atheism book?
Yeah, right. The big mentacle. Anyway. Okay. So you want to listen to a little bit of this guy? What do we got here? 1132, 1133, 1241. Okay, let's see what else he's got to say here.
It's an extraordinary lack of introspection and critical ability, and it happens at the highest levels in our culture today. Famous scientists take this attitude that you're describing. The only thing we can have empirical access to is our own stream of perceptions. Perceptions are subjective experiences. They have the qualities of experience. They consist of the qualities of experience and nothing else. Anything else is abstraction of thought. And we can also observe that our stream of subjective perceptions tend to be consistent with what other people report of their streams of subjective perceptions. So,
yeah, there we go. Empiricism.
Well, he's also, it almost sounds like he's leaning towards the solipsism. Like there's nothing that really keeps him from just falling into just plain solipsism. He goes on. He's starting to talk about, me and my perceptions, kind of checking with others or bouncing those perceptions off of others to see how much agreement there is, but unless we acknowledge that that's what we're doing, it just sounds like he's not avoiding breaking down into solipsism. Does he, in his writings, or have you come across anything where he has a way where he tries to avoid solipsism?
Are you looking at the screen? Idealism is not solipsism. Let's look more carefully. Okay, blah,
So
blah,
now he
blah.
has to actually make a good argument for that.
Yeah.
Right, but
Solipsism is the notion that.
isn't his argument that because I think it's true? I mean, isn't that really what he's saying here?
Well, I think he's pushing back on. Okay, he's claiming that everything we get is from this stream of perceptions, right? That the only thing we know is perceptions.
Right.
And that is what I call naive empiricism, where you think that everything you get is from sense data or sense datum, they call it in philosophy.
Yeah.
And no, that's not the case. There's a whole lot more going on between the human organism and the world when you pop out your mama and you start, poking your eyes and flailing around, and you start moving and doing things. And there's a lot of information that you get from the world that, basically is much more than sense data, because not only are you sensing things that happen, but you're also initiating movements. So you're moving, so you're doing this interaction, right? And then as you grow up, you come up with rationality. Basically, you start thinking in terms of reasoning, right? And the reasoning adds to that. And I think he kind of accepts that, because he claims his idea is, done with pure reason and pure, empiricism or whatever. So, but, there's a lot more going on. So it isn't just something you can say there's a stream of sense data and the sense data can be wrong. And that's why solipsism and traditional idealism are bullshit.
Yeah.
Because there's a hell of a lot more that's going on between you and the world than just getting a stream of sense data. And, that's what Plato's idea of the shadows on the wall and all of that bullshit. But
Now,
what does he say here about solipsism?
Wouldn't that be testable too? I mean, if we were all getting the same wavelengths or something, wouldn't that be like some kind of telekinesis type thing going on or something?
Yeah.
That should be testable, right?
Yeah. If there's two people in a room and you're looking at the same object from different, you're in slightly different spots in space. Well, you can pull out a measuring stick, you can pull out a level, you can pull out, a compass. You could do a whole lot of different. You could test that information in many different ways than just getting a stream of sense data.
Right.
It becomes a rational complex.
I mean, if they were both having the same thoughts, though, too, it would.
I mean, we know it to be a fact that sense data isn't reliable.
Right. These things have been tested where they test people for any kind of perception between each other, and it's never any better than flipping a coin. So.
Where is it that he goes 1, 2, 3, 4? Because I hate it when authors refer to just numbers, because then you have to go back up and.
Oh God, yeah, I don't know where it is. Therefore, it is not idealism. Idealism grants reality to statements 2. Okay, statements 2, 3, 4. Where does he? Let's say I probably highlighted them. Here we go. Yeah. Your conscious perceptions exist. Oh, yeah, we know that. Conscious perceptions of other living entities different from your own also exist. There are things that exist independently of an outside. Okay, this is a physicalism. It's what he claims physicalists assume. There are things that exist independently of an outside conscious perception. Yep. I leave one room, go back in the room, it's still there. Things that exist independently of an outside conscious perception generate conscious perception. Okay. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, and he rejects 3 and 4, I think, is what he's rejecting. Let's see, where was I on the idealism is not solipsism. Okay, so how does he explain that? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Let's see here.
So is he saying this is? Is he saying that he's an idealist and this is the true idealism? Because I'm not saying that solipsism is not idealism, or is the idealism. I'm just saying that what he has presented so far is very solipsistic, because solipsism has to do with it's an epistemological statement. It's you can't know that other minds exist. you can't have, you know,
Oh, I see. That's
pure
why it's
knowledge.
not solipsism, because the data stream of your senses tells you that the other minds exist.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty much what we all assume. I mean, we all assume that
Right.
each other is conscious, and it's so. But anyway, idealism kind of collapses into solipsism, and that's
Hmm.
the real problem with idealism. But then he's arguing for something else. He's arguing for something that's much more. In fact, when he describes what he's talking about everything is mental, right? Well, okay, if you said everything is Montel or everything is Munchausen, you could say everything, you can change the word, and eventually you could say everything is physical. And the way he talks about the world is exactly the same that as a physicalist would talk about the world. So a physicalist would say everything is physical. Well, then we say, well, what's physical? Well, we're going to get down to atoms, right? Atoms are pretty goddamn physical. But then when you get down into quantum mechanics and you start looking at those orbitals on the atoms and you look at interactions of subatomic particles in large hadron colliders, then everything gets a little spooky. And when you get down to what physical stuff really is, well, we don't fucking really know yet, right? We've got a lot to learn about that. And he's just saying that it's mental, and he describes the very same thing that a physicalist would describe, except he's giving it a different label. And then he goes off on his tirade against materialists are just naive, and they just want to be selfish, and they just want to sin. It's pretty much what he's saying. It's just fuck. What the fuck? It, when you get to the bottom of his argument, he sounds exactly like a physicalist. If you were to replace mental with physical in every part of his book, he would be making an argument for physicalism. Except
Well,
he's
you know how to get somebody on your side is show them somebody to everybody come up with some boogeyman, somebody to hate and resist and
Damn
undermine.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing, I think.
Number 8 will surprise you. What? What?
Oh, that's Icarus doing a internet social meme thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So my diet consists of Campbell's soup and popsicles. And so how does a computer catch fish? Scott, do you
How
know?
does what catch fish?
How does a computer catch fish?
Gee, I don't know, Speed. How does a computer catch fish?
It uses the internet.
Yucky.
Wow.
Okay, all my popsicles have little jokes on them.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that was one of them.
I think that must be one of those AI created things.
Okay, well, you understand that I'm seriously lacking nutrition. I've been under 1,000 calories a day for a while now, so that was hilarious to me. I was like, oh my god, that is so good. Yeah.
You know what I've heard is really good when you're having stomach trouble? Chocolate covered mentacles.
Oh, mentacles.
Yeah, and if you mix it,
chocolate's hard on your stomach.
Yeah.
And if you put them in
Put them on mentacles, so.
Coca-Cola, they'll just really foam up and blow up in your face.
I don't think I'm going to follow
Caffeine's bad for your stomach. I said when I had my stomach problems, they gave me a list of all these things. Cheese is bad for you. It's like, oh, I love my cheese. Chocolate's bad for you. Oh, I got a sweet tooth for chocolate. Tomatoes are bad for you, and spaghetti sauce and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, I have spaghetti or some kind of pasta dish once a week. I like, Italian flair, whatever you want to call it. So they're going down this list, and everything but alcohol was on the list of my diet.
Yeah. I ate 2 eggs and it went well, so I decided to eat 5. That did not go well.
Have you tried like a Prilosec or something like that to turn your acid pumps down?
No, I don't think acid is not the problem. The gallbladder is just
Yeah, me neither. But if I take it, it tones it down a little bit when you have a big meal and a heavy meal.
Well,
and
tonight
so
I'm gonna cook a pork chop because I've been feeling pretty good today, and I want to see if my gallbladder is still fucked up. And if it ain't, if I get away with a pork chop, then maybe I don't need surgery. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
So I was telling you, I had that attack, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. Of course, I was pretty stressed out at the time, so I could have been, I could have did it to myself.
Yeah, I wasn't stressed out. I just ate a big piece of apple pie and
All hail Bigfoot. I haven't had any problems.
ended up spending
Did
the
somebody
night.
say pie?
I spent the night in the
Pie?
emergency room because of an apple pie. Anyway, let's see.
We don't have pies. We eat pies.
Eat what? Pie.
Pies, not pies.
Oh, okay.
Pie.
Pie.
Yeah.
Want some pie?
It's apple pie.
Yeah. Yeah. I went over with a girl from Kentucky for a while, and she kept saying this thing to me, and it took me a while to figure out what she was saying. But it was, "You ain't right. You ain't right.
You ain't right.
You ain't
You
right.
ain't right.
Ain't right.
You ain't right.
That's all she kept saying about me is you ain't right.
You ain't right.
And I think she's right about that.
We have our own diet.
Oh yeah. Yep. She was a trip. Okay. What else we got here? Let's see if I got any more. I haven't gone through too much of this video, but a little bit. Let's see. He goes on, dribbles on.
We have no access to anything beyond subjective experience. So the question that poses itself to us is,
Bullshit.
do we need to make that inference in order to explain these three canonical facts I just mentioned, the correlations between brain activity and subjective experience, the fact that we all seem to share the same world, and the fact that the laws of physics don't give a damn about what we want or don't want? Do we need to postulate physicalism, to infer physicalism, to explain these three facts? Or can these three facts be explained without postulating a whole universe beyond knowledge, a whole universe outside subjective experience? The body of my work is to a large extent to explain these three facts without postulating a world outside consciousness, but simply inferring that consciousness itself extends beyond the face value boundaries of a personal self. Not
Yep. That's enough of him.
That's crazy. That's just fucking crazy talk.
Yeah.
World.
And it's not true either, because he's pushing a theology to it, right?
He's not exactly a theist. He just believes that everything is mental. That's it. And he believes that we are little pools, little whirlpools inside the big mental that have because of this dissociative disorder.
This is the same guy that said if you stub your toe and you don't think it hurts, it doesn't, or something, right?
I'm not sure if he said that. No, I can't remember that part. Maybe you might have
One of the videos we were watching.
Yeah, it might have been Philip Goff. I'm not sure. But, he says that we have forgotten that we're part of the big mental, or that, okay, what the brain does is it filters out all of the universe and just leaves us with this little tiny bit of the story. That's what the brain does. And his proof for that is all, he makes reference to a few little things like when you take psychedelics, your mind doesn't actually light up more actively. It just changes how it's lit up. And he's claiming that it reduces your mental function. And then when you do alcohol or anesthesia, or you start to die, you have a near-death experience or whatever, he claims that your consciousness expands into the universe a little bit, is what he's claiming. So he thinks that the brain, the whole thing with the brain is that it limits and filters the amount of consciousness we get. And we have to wake up and realize we're part of the whole, right? And now a physicalist like myself would say the same thing, that the self is kind of just an illusion. You're a temporary little whirlpool in the field of physical things. And when you die, the whirlpool's going to die out, whatever, and you need to wake up and realize that it doesn't matter, which is a Buddhist idea, right?
Sounds like this is almost like Hinduism.
Yeah.
covered with
Horse
super
shit.
glue and has all sorts of shit just stuck to it. And this, that's mind too, that's mental too, that's mental too. When I don't get how, is he saying physical things aren't real, or is he saying that physical things are real, but even under the quantum physics of it all, it's made up of mentals,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, so Hinduism is like this beautiful whirling thing through space and through the void. And his idea is more like a big, ugly, sticky dust bunny.
Yeah.
That's a good characterization.
Well, I hope I helped
Oh yeah.
clarify what
Yes.
I'm thinking about his thinking.
It does seem to be a lot of words that don't mean anything when you're listening.
Yeah.
Well,
Word
that's the
salad.
Wait a
problem.
minute,
That's
I'm
part of
thinking
the
one way
influence of feedback.
and then another way, yeah. It's like, what?
That's the problem with using philosophy alone to describe the natural world. There's no
Yeah.
sign that anything that he's saying is true, but because he can justify it in his head to be true, it seems to be true. Because it
Well,
looks that way.
if you can get a government and a religion and all sorts of aspects of society to ram it down your throats, you can convince everybody that that's the way reality is, and pretty soon everybody's thinking that that's the way the reality is.
This is
And
here's what a mentacle looks like.
well, that's not so bad.
It's a mentacle, yeah. This sort
Well,
of
the thing is, like Mike said, this guy's very headstrong, and he gets very upset if you challenge him too. And
oh yeah.
I prefer, if it's going to be a philosophical debate, let's have a good philosophical debate. But if you're just going to be pissy,
Yeah.
it's often suspect.
Well, he uses all this derogatory language toward physicalism. The idea is that we're just naive materialists. All of us, we just haven't thought it through. We're not thinking the whole thing through, right? Because we're naive materialists, and we accept the cultural paradigm, and it's just bullshit.
So I guess he needs to identify too. Does he consider anybody to be a sophisticated physicalist?
He hasn't talked about one yet. I don't know. Yeah. He had to talk with Michael Shermer. I got to watch the rest of that lecture. If you type in Bernardo Kastrup on YouTube, you will find hundreds and hundreds of appearances that he's making. And I think this Essentia Foundation, which is kind of a religious thing, is well funded, and they're pushing this Deepak Chopra narrative, and they're trying to prove parapsychology and a whole bunch of other shit, because he believes in all that. He believes in parapsychology.
And didn't he say he has a book contract he has to fulfill too? Isn't he the one that said he's got a 3-book deal or something? He's got
he's working.
The dates are coming up on it.
He's working on 2 books, so yeah, he should get to work. Yeah.
Pressure's on.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going through his book, and I'm hoping to do like a little one-off thing. But there's a whole lot of interesting things, because I have my own theory of consciousness, right? And it's based on pretty much 16 years of thinking, reading, and working on this stuff, and dealing with this crap, right? And dealing with the other side, and putting together my own idea. And the idea is, the hard problem of consciousness is about coming up with an intuition that works for you. And he basically says, oh, the physicalist thing, the intuition doesn't work with physicalism. But then when he defines physicalism, it sounds like he's talking about fucking idealism. And I got a couple parts in his book that I'll do maybe in shorter pieces, where he says that the physicalism is required to believe that everything is inside your mind, which is idealism. He inverts it, and he even talks about the inversion. It's really interesting. But it's based on an idea that that I guess most mainstream scientists have right now, that when you see something in the world, that you represent it inside of your head. And now Dan Dennett will point out that that is dualism itself. Because if you represent it inside of your head, then who the fuck is observing the representation? You've got a homunculus looking at your representation. Well, I push back on that, and I use the whirlpool analogy that everything that we do, all of our mind, we're in a constant state of interaction with the world, our body and the world, all the time. And that's I got to check something in a little while. And basically, when you start to develop that intuition, and you look at physicalism, there's no reason to not believe that the subjective experience we feel is all physical. When you start to look at it as a processual sort of thing rather than a brain state, like a bunch of neurons in a particular state are going to create, or consciousness is going to arise from them. Well, that isn't what's happening. That's not how we live. We're very much a part of the universe, just like a whirlpool is a part of a stream or a lake, right? And we're just flowing through that process. And when you start to develop that intuition, I no longer have the hard problem of consciousness. And of course, at the end, in his book, he says he doesn't either. And he has approached it from this different kind of intuition. But I think if he just replaced the word mental with physical, he'd be pretty much agreeing with me on many points, which is fucking mind-numbing. I don't know. Anyway, if speed was a Pokemon, I'm not a Pokemon. Am I? Maybe I am. I kind of wish I was a fucking Pokemon. Right. That would be cool.
Just bebopping around. Not
What's
a care
that?
in the,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
bebopping around, not a care in the world. Just
Yeah.
do.
Well, nobody can see you unless they have their iPhone turned on and pointed at you, if you're a Pokemon. It'd be kind of
Like
cool.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, make shoplifting a lot easier. Not that I would promote that sort of thing, but
Pokemon Go
do that.
lowered the population of Kentucky. You should have seen the people walking out in traffic looking at their fucking phones. Sorry for the F word there. But
it'd be
Yeah.
so fucking cool if somebody was looking for a Pokemon and they got their phone and they're all walking on a trail and right in front of them is a fucking bear, like attacking them, right? And they like miss the bear because they're looking at their phone.
so I live beside like a small city, and in town you would see people when this came out just walking around with their phone in front of them. They were in the road. They didn't know anything was going on other than their phone, and it was ridiculous when that came out here.
Yeah, it's crazy shit. I think my kids and my daughter-in-law were doing it for a while. Kind of freaky. Kind of a fun idea, though. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I don't want to be on too long, so
I gotta go too. I gotta get set up.
gotta go get ready. Yeah, I gotta go have a meeting with my son about, should I do it or shouldn't I next week?
Everyone go watch the Grass Man.
What's that?
I'm watching the grass,
Said
man.
everyone go
We're
watch the Grass Man.
Go watch.
gonna talk about I had Bigfoot's baby, so you don't want to miss that.
Ooh,
Oh.
getting a little steamy.
Oh, really? Is there somebody that? Oh, yeah, there was an article, wasn't there? I had Bigfoot's baby.
We
Does
got-
anybody want
we-
to make a comment about that Hershey Ali lady who became a Christian? Icarus wanted
It
to-
happens. It happens. People find spirituality. When I was doing my demon stuff, they were saying, people that have all this occult stuff and UFO stuff and that, it's just to leave God. And what I found out is a lot of these people actually become spiritual and some of them find God. So people have experiences and people change their minds. And,
Yeah. So-
if she believes that something about Christianity now, okay.
So, what is that? The New Atheist? Is that the name of a channel? Or
No, I think it's just identifying with the atheist movement of the early 2000s.
I mean,
Yeah,
are they
it's
talking
strange.
about?
Well, that's like one of us said, "Hey, guess what? I found God. I had an experience. I'm a Christian now." The rest
Well,
of us would kind of
a
go,
lot of
"Oh,
people,
okay."
yeah, a lot of people miss the community and togetherness of it, as well as the reassurance. And I was talking to Mike, a day or so ago, and I just think sometimes having the sacred space and
Yeah.
being able to participate inside that is important. I think even for secularists, having places that are places of memorial reflection, um, where they're symbol laden. In other words, even though nobody's talking, you're still getting a message,
Yeah.
and that message is hopeful and uplifting and inspiring some sort of awe or tears even. So
Yeah.
those are just really strong elements that are very compelling. And
I
if
put up a
she,
Christmas tree, right?
See, I
Every
feel
year,
the opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a dangerous cult that uses cult tricks to trick people into joining, and it's been 2,000 years.
yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
I'm more the anti-theist.
We're not kind to the religions over here.
No, I'm an anti-theist too.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with the reality of there are religious people in the world, and there are people having experiences, however they interpret them, even if we think that they're just perfectly natural.
What Scott was talking about is, the thing like a lot of us atheists put up a Christmas tree and have, this whole ritual for Christmas, and there's sort of a really warm, fuzzy feeling to it all.
I got a
spirituality.
big old greenery planter out there. We're gonna run over to the cemetery for my mom for Christmas.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah.
But we go and I say hi, Mom, because I promised not let the weeds overgrow it and everything, right? So
Okay.
does it mean anything to my mother? No. It just means something to me that wish my mom Merry Christmas, and
somebody banned Spooky.
All right, well, I'm out of here. I got to get ready to get with trees before the show. I hope to see everybody over there, and everybody have a good one.
Yep.
All right. Nice talking to you, Dave.
I'm
always a pleasure.
I'm giving a few people mod rights here, Brian Stevens and Doorknob Head. So, okay, because everybody's mod on my channel. Everybody. Anyway, okay, we're going to shoot her in the head. We just did a little bit. This was just a little bit of an intro to Kastrup. So, you ready? End stream?
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. Goodbye, cruel world. Stick around, TKA, for a moment. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.